bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum ba-dum bum bum bum. Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Podcasting with Brii and Corey. Get it now. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry, be happy. I think that's one of my better ensembles.
I'm very, very impressed.
I'm honored.
Welcome to Jamming in the Attic. My name is Andre. I've been your leader for about 2 months now, and I think that our tribe has made its way into a very good direction. I think we're ready to conquer the southeast boot, and
Heyo.
Together we make a whole. We have two very special guests in the attic. I didn't know if we were going to be able to pull this off, but as fate had it, it happened.
We made it happen. It almost didn't, but we made it happen.
Fuck yeah.
It literally came down to the wire today of Corey being like, all right, we're going to be pushing it, but this is going to happen.
Yo, I didn't know what friendship was until I found out that y'all were driving 2 hours to come here and do this podcast and then go back home.
And I wouldn't let either of us back out of it or push it back.
My friends, give it up for Brii Simmons and Corey. What's your last name?
Murray. It's okay.
Murray. I'm so sorry.
No.
Corey Murray. That's a fucking great name.
Isn't it?
Dude, everybody likes to call me by my full name, and I used to hate it, but then I just decided to embrace it.
Yeah.
Corey Murray. What kind of shit would you get for that name?
Well, everybody be like, oh, Corey Michael Murray. Oh, like Chad Michael Murray? And I'm like, God damn, no. No. I'm not related to Chad Michael Murray. I wish I was related to Bill Murray. Stop asking me.
They had this dude in junior high. His name was legit Michael Jackson, and no one knew.
Yeah.
And he was in my class when they called on the intercoms, like, "Can we please have Michael Jackson to the office?" And it's so weird for a class of junior high students, but everyone just broke out in applause. Like,
There he goes.
completely unscripted.
The king of pop.
No hee-hees? No hee-hee? None of that?
No hee-hees, but a lot of laughing as they just clap, like they just saw the best show of the fucking
Absolutely.
7th grade.
Hooping and hollering.
Welcome, guys. I'm really excited, if I haven't said it already, to have you guys here.
We're happy to be here, man.
Same.
Corey, you were about to tell me a story about Luling?
Yeah, so...
Luling, Louisiana.
So I don't know if you're familiar with UL's campus, but they have Our Lady of Wisdom, which is the Catholic church on campus, and I used to like play trumpet for them and stuff like that, and I used to do a lot of the churchy things, but that's another story. I was in there one day hanging out with a couple people that I used to like chit chat with and roll with at that time, and out of nowhere, this guy walks up to me and goes, "You're from Luling," just tells me. Like, doesn't ask me, like, are you from... No, he goes, "You're from Luling." And I was like, who do you know me? Who are you? Like, who do you know? You know somebody. Like, I was just like, I'm not letting you get away with this shit.
That's creepy.
But he goes, I don't know any of your family. He's like, "What's your name?" And I was like, Corey. He goes, "Yeah, I have a cousin who lives in Lafayette. In Luling. And he talks just like you. I could tell by your accent." And I was like, "What?" And he goes like, "Yeah, Luling people have an accent." I'm like, "I don't believe you."
Even so, like, fuck you, dude. Like,
yeah. I didn't know how to
Who do you
feel.
think you
Like,
are?
yeah, you're just gonna come across this public area in like a coffee shop and be like, "Hey, you're from Luling. I can tell by the way you talk." Like,
you're an asshole. How about
yeah. But
Dude.
it was really creepy because he just described it as like, "Oh, you're like a mix between like a Cajun and like the Creole."
Yeah.
Like, there's some things that I said that it sounded like I was from New Orleans. There's things I said that sounded like I was from down to Bayou. So
the way you just said Bayou
Down
was
Bayou,
Bayou.
yeah, yeah. So exactly. There's times where like especially if I get rowdy or angry, I sound like I'm straight from the downtown, like straight off the block, you know. But
I had a spell where I sounded British when I got angry.
Oh, no.
Like I start an argument with, like, "You know what? And another thing." Like,
Another thing.
like I just get an influx in my voice where I start like losing it. Like, it just gets weaker, but it's mistaken for like Liverpool, you know?
Right. Yeah, no.
Liverpool,
I
fuck.
just come home for like a week and suddenly my accent is in full swing. Because Corey can normally tell over the phone who I've been hanging out with when I come home, depending on how strong my accent is.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if I'm just hanging out with, like, my mom and my sister, it's there, but it's not, like, as strong as if I go, like, all the way down to La Rose and cut off and hang out with my family down there. And
She spent a day and a half down there, and next thing you know, babe, she was just talking like that. You know, I was just like,
Yeah.
damn, who are you?
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah. Well, your family's from Lockport. That's like the bayou.
It really is. I mean, it's so the bayou that it's one of those places that eventually is going to have an emergency evacuation because it'll be underwater. So
For real.
it's coming, man. My mom actually got out of Lockport, so we don't have any ties there anymore. I mean, she moved to Thibodeau. Not that that's a
Well, it's a little
massive
better.
change, but 30 minutes up the road ain't too bad.
You still have family that lives down there? Is most of your family from there?
Yeah. So my mom's side of the family is all from down the bayou. They go all the way from Grand Isle up to Thibodeau, for the most part. But yeah, they go all the way down to Grand Isle and come all the way back up. So and my dad's family's from Mississippi. We don't know much about them. So
Word.
yeah.
A whole
We are
southern
the
roots.
bayou people. Grew up with, swamp kid feet and all that jazz. So.
And to clear up the stigma of down the bayou people, they don't go to schools on boats.
Or on alligators.
On
yeah.
an alligator.
There is an alligator that lives behind Smoothie King, which is right across the street from my alma mater. But he's just chilling, man. He's just minding his own business. I hope they throw him like strawberries from time to time because I imagine like it smells really nice over there.
Yeah.
But no, we drive cars and do our thing.
Yeah.
And we're pretty normal people, and when we get out of where we are, it's even more fun, and we don't have accents as strongly as soon as we leave the area, which I think is really funny because like I lived in Lafayette for less than a month and my accent was completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought
Which is
that
crazy,
was kind of interesting
because
yeah.
it's still South Louisiana. Which
Yeah, exactly. It's just a little, I don't know, the culture there is a little different. So
I think Lafayette is probably the most impressive, progressive place to be here in South Louisiana.
I think it's definitely one of them for sure.
No
And that's why
doubt,
we
yeah.
stay. That's why we will be in Lafayette for the foreseeable future if we stay in Louisiana.
Yeah.
That's where we'll be.
I just think like it's like that and New Orleans are like kind of like the only progressive bastions of Louisiana, you know?
Yeah.
The only places we're willing to live while staying in the
Yeah,
boot.
I wouldn't even say Baton Rouge. Like some people would
No.
try and toss Baton Rouge in there, but I wouldn't even say Baton Rouge, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that either. I think Baton Rouge is, it's the capital, so then it's all based upon probably college culture with LSU.
Yeah,
and
I mean LSU takes up a massive part of that city. One of my best friends is up there right now. Holla at Sarah. In a vocal performance master's degree because she's amazing. I am in no way close to doing any of those things.
Well, you're doing some cool stuff, but
I try to do.
I want to get a few questions out.
Yeah.
I could talk to you guys literally forever. For anyone that doesn't know, this is our reunion.
Yeah.
And we're having it on a podcast.
Yep.
I'm so fucking
Perfect.
excited.
I'm just a guest.
No, Corey, man. Well, you're my new friend, man. I'm
Yeah.
excited to ask you some stuff too, because you're qualified as fuck,
Yeah.
from what I hear.
Yeah.
He's only got 3 degrees in music. It's fine.
Yeah, stop
He'll
it.
be
It's
casual about
nothing.
it. That ain't nothing. 3 whole degrees in music. I've got 1 that I'm barely keeping up with. So.
Brii.
Yes.
So I know you from playing with you in my first ever band. Hashtag the final cut.
Hashtag the final cut. I still run the Facebook page if anyone's
You,
interested.
you hop on there because I'm an
Yeah.
admin on there too, and I'll
Yeah.
get posts you haven't posted anything in 12,000 days.
Yeah. It's like you have 1 new view. It's like who is looking at this page right now?
People are discovering us.
I know.
But before that, I don't really know much about you, and you're probably in the top 10 most talented singers I know.
God, I think you're blowing smoke up my ass, but I appreciate it.
It's accurate. When did you start really getting into music? I know you used to sing with your mom.
I did. So I don't think there was ever just a moment when I really got into music. It was always there. So I come from a long lineage of singers. My great-grandmother was a singer, my grandmother, my mom, and my sister. And me and my sister are about a generation apart. We're 15 and a half years apart. So we all I grew up with that just being our culture. My aunt also sings and plays guitar, and anytime we'd get together for family gatherings, that's what we did.
Is there an origination, like one family member that like trickled down into the rest of y'all?
Because
it's all of the. Sure. It seems like all of the girls in your family. Am I wrong?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, my dad can carry a tune. I'll give it. Like, my dad is not bad at singing at all, and I think I was very blessed in that both my parents could sing together. They actually owned a DJ business from before I was born all the way up until I want to say I was about 3 or 4. So they were like gigging musicians essentially while I was growing up, which was super interesting. And my sisters also sang, so they would do it with them too. And they were teenagers when I was born, so they could go and do gigs with them, or they can go and run a gig themselves if they needed to. And I kind of just grew up with that being a thing. My great aunt is also she got the same degree that I got. So she was classically trained in opera, and she really believed in what I would grow up to do and what my capabilities would be. So she helped push me a bit. And her and my mom, of course, helped push me a bit into the musical direction and keeping me there. I don't think I ever, like, really decided that music was my thing, though. Like, it's just something that I felt I could do and should do. So that's what happened.
But something in you kept that your whole life, because it's kind of like people whose parents made them play piano but they never done anything with it. Mm-hmm. You can either like learn that and then just be like, oh, it's just something I have to live around, or you can be like, this is my life. Yeah.
And I think that was it too. It was such an integral part of who I am that going into college for it just seemed like the right thing to do. And I had like deciding on a college major was such a roller coaster because my dad was trying to push me into petroleum engineering, and I had gone to UL Expo Day and got all of the engineering information and was like, I guess this is just what I'm gonna do. Whatever. And then at the end of that Expo Day, there was they sent me a bunch of emails and whatever, and through that email they asked you to declare a major that you were interested in, and I declared theater when they sent me that. So I was like, I'm gonna major in theater. I want to be an actor and an artist. And it took until I got to orientation, or maybe it was preview day. I don't know. There was something that I did way before I started, and I was like, no, I think vocal music education is the way to go. So that's what I did. I had no idea what I was in for. Nobody really knew me at all there. Me and my best friend went together at the time. But I had no idea what I was in for, what was going to happen. Like, I remember my first week or two into choir. I was in just a regular chorale. You don't have to audition to get in or anything. You just sign up for it. And the choir director was helping us learn a piece, whatever. And I was catching on pretty quickly. Like, I'm not great at reading music, but I can memorize a tune pretty quickly. So he stopped and like asked me what my major was, and I said vocal music education, and he's like, "You're a voice major? Oh, our food's here." We ordered food.
Yeah. Hashtag waiter.
Hashtag
shout
waiter.
out.
Shout out to Corey working at Waiter and also waitering us food.
For anyone who doesn't know, it's like similar to DoorDash or something like that.
Absolutely,
but better because it's original.
Yeah, it's Louisiana based, Louisiana strong, man. But yeah, essentially, he didn't even know that I was a voice major until I told him, and from then on, he got me into the more advanced ensemble. He got me to audition the next semester. My audition did not go well. He let me in anyway, bless him. And that kind of changed the course of my degree and my life, I think, for the foreseeable future after that, because I met the people that I would end up being friends with throughout my undergrad in that group, and found a mentor that is still my mentor and still my boss and still somebody that I talk to regularly. I still work in the church that he's the director at and all of that, so I text him stupid memes all the time and vice versa. So we're now that I'm no longer a student, we can kind of be buds, which is nice.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to take a quick break to eat? We can start back up in a minute. I don't want to, make it difficult on you.
I mean, I'll eat and talk at the same time. I do it constantly.
I don't know if
I'm always eating and always talking.
Yeah, since these are very powerful condenser mics, so I'm going to go
let's
ahead
not ASMR this shit.
All right. We'll be right back, folks. Thank you all later.
You have to talk about the 10-year-old drummer at some point. We have to talk about our 10-year-old drummer.
We can talk about him right now, because we're back!
Yeah!
The legacy of the 10-year-old drummer.
Yeah, man. before the final cut had the Swaz, we had a drummer that was only 10 years old. We were all teenagers, like very much in high school teenagers, and our drummer was the wee old age of 10, and he was crazy, dude. Like, he was awesome, but he was a child.
Like,
So.
we had a... So, let me dive into this a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
In my first episode I had with Megan Foray, shout out to Megan Foray.
Shout out to Megan.
We
I
talked
miss her.
about creative music for kids for a
Yeah.
while.
Shaped a lot of us as people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And what me and Brii were just saying.
You and Megan. Megan.
Well, currently.
Oh,
Right now,
currently, sorry. Don't listen to me.
was that in creative music for kids while we were still like forming as a band because
We were
you
just
know,
a class at that point.
right, we were just a class that learned songs and prepared for like one show at the end of the year.
Extravaganza.
Extravaganza. And in the beginning was just me, you, and Jaren.
Yeah, it's just the three of us.
But we got paired up with like 3 other girl acoustic players
Yeah,
and this 10-year-old drummer.
yep, we did.
So it was
That was before Julie, too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't she kind of come in like cuz y'all
She came in because we desperately wanted to get rid of both of those girls. Which is super shady. And,
Yeah.
like, I'm actually friends with one of them now. She's at Northwestern getting a degree in voice, and she's killing it, dude.
remember my song?
Because you were in love with Elena. Yes.
It was like
You wrote a love song?
No.
It's like when you're a kid in elementary school and you like somebody but you pull their hair and call them
Yeah.
names. I wrote a song called Elena's a Whore.
God, I can still sing it. I know the tune of the song. Like, I still remember it. Oh, no.
I can play it right now.
Oh, my God, please. Elena's the horn. I remember. Oh, God.
I don't remember all the lyrics.
No, I would hope not. That would probably mean something more about you than I think we're ready to dive into on this podcast. We'll have to have a second
No, let's
episode.
dive. I have my swimsuit on. Let's do it.
It's good enough.
It's passable. It fits the theme.
There was a girl, she was a whore. Her name was Elena, and she sucked a ton of rocks because you know that she just goes around and she doesn't give Andre attention. Cause we know Elena's a whore. You know, it's something
Yeah.
along those lines.
Yep.
God, it's beautiful.
Listen, we were a fucking sight to behold back in those days, dude. We were so much. But we had so much fun all the time. So, like, I can't even complain. And, like, honestly, like, thinking back on it, that experience very much did, like, push me in the direction of music because I fell
All
in
of
love with
us.
singing again, you know?
Exactly.
And, like, I was good. I mean, I was yelling. So, be prepared for that in the future. But
Before we move on, I just want to say Elena's not a whore. That was
Elena is not a whore. She's a very
You're not a
cool
whore,
person.
Elena. We love you. I don't
She's
even
a
know who you are,
pharmacist,
and
I
I love
think.
you.
I follow you on social media, and I look forward to your future posts. So.
Yeah, she's still dating the same guy she was dating then. So
Oh wow.
good for her, man.
Yeah.
Definitely not a whore.
Definitely not a
Definitely.
whore. She's still with that dude.
I think that experience was, even if no one else continued with music, it's still a kind of a life-changing experience.
Absolutely. I
Just-
think I'm the only one that went to college for it out of all of us. Or finished college for it, I'll say, out of all of us. And, like, that experience had a lot to do with it. It did. Because it very much, I think, it helped me figure out what I liked to do in singing and, like, what I thought I could accomplish. And, like, that pushed me down a road that opened so many more avenues of singing and what I was capable of. And built that diaphragm real nice for when I got to college, which was cool.
I'm also glad to see that you've never really deviated from your natural path, because even when we were playing in, like, I don't even know what we would call ourselves, like a cover rock band.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have any originals.
We tried.
Jared
tried-
wrote that one song.
Yeah, I tried to bring in Atlanta's a Whore, but it didn't really work with the whole band.
No, we what is it? We focus grouped it. It didn't pass.
It's more of a personal piece.
After
Deep
we
track.
had
It was deep track.
We had like a month-long argument about what to name the band. So
Yeah.
like trying to do originals, especially because we wanted to do it collaborative, never ever panned out because we could not work together other than just playing music.
Dude, collaboration's hard, man.
It is, and
It's
we were very
hard.
strong-willed little kids. So I think Jaren was the only one that like finished something and was like, we should try this, and we just never did.
Well, our whole idea of being a band was more thinking of ourselves independently.
Yeah.
Because everybody had their own, like, everyone was really different. I
Yeah.
like music in a kind of a neutral way. Like, I can play almost anything as long as it's something that I really just can't get with, which is, I mean, maybe not rare, but, like, Jaren was more in like,
Jaren and Swayze wouldn't play anything they didn't want to play, and that's the T. But me and Julie did the same thing. I mean, there were songs that everybody else wanted to do that we were just like, no, we're not going to do that. And for some of it, it was because we didn't like the song, but I think that only really happened once. Other than that, it was like our actual abilities. Like, I would have to sing the song an octave up for it to be possible. It's too low, and transposing just wasn't an option because of our skill level.
yeah.
So we butted heads on that kind of stuff a lot.
But the problem was, I mean, of course we were really young, but we also didn't have a universal goal.
No,
It was
not at all.
just, we met playing songs that Creative Music for Kids gave us, and then we formed the band, and we're like, okay, we have the freedom to play our own songs.
Yeah.
But we wanted to learn covers, and everyone has a different interest. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, let's play
Paramore.
Paramore. Oh, let's play
The Red. Oh,
The
let's
Red.
play. Oh, and then Tammy made us learn.
Let's play 30 Seconds to Mars.
It was on the table.
What was that? More Than a Feeling. Tammy made us learn More Than a Feeling.
I
She
know.
pushed for that song so hard, and by the time we learned it, we were like, this is stupid.
I remember
But we did it.
straining so hard trying to perfect that song. We
Yeah.
all did.
It was a challenge for all of us, I think. I mean, it was a good challenge, but I think ultimately that song was towards the end of us going together. And the harder part, too, was we were very, like, egocentric in that we were just kind of focused on our own idea of what we wanted to do, and we were paying to be there.
Yeah, that's true.
So we
That's
were paying
true.
$12 a week to be there, and
Yeah.
I think with that came its own pressures because none of us come from wealthy families, like
Yeah.
at all. So it was, I guess, like a push to be as productive as possible without wasting time, and not, I guess, and because of that, we didn't want to waste time. We wanted to do what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
We didn't want to bother our time with what other people wanted to do, and I think being 16 and 17 at that time was a lot of the influence there. We were kids.
Definitely. I promise, Corey, I got questions for you. Hang in tight.
Take your time, man.
But Brii, one thing I do talk about a lot on the show, because this is something that I personally feel. I went into a little bit of a rut with music. I spent some time in Nashville learning audio engineering, doing some really cool things. I had some kind of disappointing moments towards the end of my time there, and then it kind of spiraled me out into a not knowing what to do situation here, coming back to Homa and not knowing if I was going to be able to do anything with music. I'm just curious, do you feel like you've had a moment between when we were a band and where you are today where, you didn't really know what you were going to do? Or
Absolutely. I still don't know what I'm doing. I still genuinely have no idea what's going on. I went into vocal music education as opposed to vocal performance because it was a compromise me and my dad made so that I could have a job. I wanted to go into performance. I know now I probably couldn't have made it through performance because of my work ethic.
Do you, by vocal performance, do you mean like I saw a video of you once, like, performing with a live piano player, like, what would you mean by that?
So vocal performance is a degree. Like that's just a
okay.
completely separate degree that you can get. It's a Bachelor of Arts in it's a Bachelor of Arts in vocal performance. And so as opposed to what I did vocal music education. So I did all of the theory and piano and things that vocal performance majors have to do. They did a little bit more in-depth into music, and I think they have to take a music media class or two, and way more pedagogy than I had to take, because I also had to take the education courses in how to teach kids and things like that, that were just part of the degree, I guess. They were in no way relevant, and I use none of that information in my career now. But it was just, I guess, the necessary evil of the career. And I'm very thankful that that is what I went to, because I always had a backup plan. And I know with my degree, I could go to grad school for whatever I would want to at this point. Like, getting a degree in music in general tells people something about you because of how difficult it is. But there was definitely a point during my undergrad, and it was before I found my voice in classical training, because classical training is a bitch, dude. Like, especially when you grew up singing in a rock band.
Yeah,
you know?
but,
like,
but just to have the chops to be able to take it on at all is something that you said.
And I'm still surprised I got through it. I think there are a good few people in this world that are. But I just kind of went into it full force. I really butted heads with everybody that tried to tell me that what I was doing was not healthy. And that caused a couple road bumps my first year. And just figuring out how to college also did that for me. But I want to say, like, my sophomore year of school, when I was in my undergrad, I hadn't found my voice yet. And, like, you really do have to find your voice whenever you're singing opera. Like, it's not always just there. I mean, some people are naturally talented. Like, my best friend who's at LSU, she's naturally talented like that. And just, her voice is massive and it's amazing. And she just had, I guess, that nature about her already, where she could find that voice and kind of knew what to do with it and just needed help navigating it as it grew. And that's what she's doing at grad school as well. She's continuing to navigate it as it grows and as she becomes more and more amazing. And I didn't have that going in. I only knew how to belt. I only knew how to use my chest voice. I
love when you
tore
do that.
myself up. I just yelled for years. And I was massively into musical theater. I mean, I still am. But
I'm about to say was.
yeah, I only knew musical theater at the time. I didn't know what other art forms there were. And so I was massively frustrating part of my life. And there were also just a lot of things happen in college, you know? So it's just stressful, and it's a weird point in your life of transition and in between and whatever. So I heavily contemplated changing my major probably that entire year. And I was failing classes, and it was awful and whatever. But I made it through. I found my voice that year also. So I think that at the same time that I was really contemplating whether it was the best choice for me is when I really decided it was. Once I found it, I was like, yeah, no, this is it. Yep. All right, cool. Found it. Tape.
Has there been because you've been in a lot of lanes, we played in a rock band as teenagers, you moved on to...
I did opera after that.
Theater.
Yeah.
Do you have, like, a performance, a show that is, like, what you go to every time you think of, like, your best performance?
Absolutely. UL Opera Theater, I was a massive part of. I did the graphic design and, like, all of that for a while, too, but... We did a show called Another Opening, Another Show. And, well, no, I'll say it started with You're Gonna Love Tomorrow, a Stephen Sondheim review. And that kind of opened my eyes to musical theater in how it could be technically difficult, which was intellectually stimulating and exactly what I wanted to do. So I was like, oh, hell yeah. And that's when I fell in love with Stephen Sondheim. I'm still in love with Stephen Sondheim and all of his work. It's when I discovered my favorite musical, Sunday in the Park with George. And that performance set me down a path I didn't even know I could go down. And so we used to alternate. We did a musical and then an opera and then a musical and then an opera, like fall, spring. So after that, we did a show called Another Opening, Another Show. And that was more song and dance. Like a lot of our shows before, because our opera director staged them, they weren't a whole lot of song and dance. He brought in an alumni to come and choreograph, and that's what I'm going to say about that. And whenever we did Another Opening, Another Show, he brought in somebody who was, like, good at choreographing and good at, like, putting us on stage and making us look good on stage no matter what we were doing. And, like, for example, the guy that did all of that is now in Tulsa, like, Oklahoma. He's a news anchor. He's doing, like, crazy amazing stuff. He's being cast in all of their massive theatrical productions. He just got cast as Matilda's dad in Matilda the Musical.
Hell yeah.
He's badass. He choreographed that show, and that sparked a new joy of I can sing and dance, and this is really hard, but God, it's so much fun. And that was so fulfilling, and it eventually led me to the show that you actually got to come and see this summer.
Chicago.
Yeah, I did Chicago the musical. Corey was in it too. Corey was in the pit. And
Oh, you were in the pit?
Yeah,
I
he played trumpet.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. So
I wish I'd have known that. Where were you after the show? Because I was
conked out because he was working and doing the show.
Yeah, I just
He normally went right home after.
I
and
usually
went to bed.
dip right after.
Yeah, because he'd work like
Yeah,
like 8 to
you didn't
1.
tell me that he came until after that
I know, way
show.
after the
Either
fact.
way, so I was like,
Yeah,
I was a little
sorry.
salty about it. I was like, oh, what?
I'm really I'm really bad at.
Why are you keeping my bro from me?
I'm
man?
sorry. I'm really
Yeah.
bad. I'm in no way like secretive about the fact that I'm really bad at communicating. So, but yeah, and I think Chicago opened even more of me up to what I really want to be doing. I mean, I'll never be on Broadway. I'm not like crazy. I know I'll never be on Broadway. That's not like a realistic thing for me to aim for, but I know that I found a place in local community theater in Lafayette that is just completely amazing and an awesome experience, and I found an amazing group of people to perform and make art with, and through that I think it helped me blossom as an artist in general, like, and to appreciate myself as an artist in general. And I continue to be changed by what happened in that show and what I got to experience in that show and who I got to meet in that show and who I got to get closer to, who I already knew, and things like that. So to say it was one show in particular, I guess would be You're Gonna Love Tomorrow, because it was the opening of the door, but many more doors have opened since then, and I will continue to walk through doors as they open themselves to me.
I wouldn't count out Broadway like too quickly. I mean, of course it's a huge thing, but if that's like actually something you would like want to shoot for in your future, I think you have the capabilities to pursue it. Not that it's something you have to do, but
yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
I appreciate it.
Fucking killing it, man.
Yeah, thank you for continuing to blow smoke up my ass.
That's what I'm here for.
And I also got to, I think that experience was, I played the ideal role in Chicago. Like,
I loved your character.
I played the most, and let me tell you why it was an ideal role. I probably had the most stage time with the least amount of lines. Because I played Catalin Hunyak, the Hungarian ballerina, essentially. And so all of my lines were in Hungarian, but if they ever needed like a fixture on stage, they didn't want to just put anybody because they'd have to like pantomime. They couldn't just have people like sitting there silently, except for me. Like, I could be sitting there silently because nobody spoke Hungarian. So I could literally just be sitting there filing my nails, and it didn't matter.
I think the majority of your lines were not guilty.
Yes, essentially.
That's why when I saw you, I was like, not guilty.
Yeah.
And they hung her.
Yeah. And then
The
I died.
bastards.
And then I died. I think it's also funny that I have died in almost every show that I've ever been in.
You were
my
a
character
fairy.
always dies. Yeah, Do Fairy was the only time I think, it was one of the, 2 shows I was in that I had no death scene.
Yeah.
Which was cool. I either died or was lifted up in the air by a group of boys, which I kind of wish had happened in the show, but same thing. It was always an ego boost to be that, like, the small one in the show that everybody got to lift up in the air. I have a friend who single-handedly lifted me up on his shoulder for another show, and it was awesome. It was so much fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What
Blast.
is the worst show you think you've ever played?
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd?
Without a doubt, Sweeney Todd.
Over our second show?
Oh, wait, hold on.
Which one was
you
worse?
mean like shows, like not just musical theater,
I'm
like
talking about
shows
your
that I
whole.
have played
I'm talking about being on stage and eating
on
shit.
stage, eating shit. Oh, absolutely, Downtown Alive and Downtown
Oh
Alive.
no.
That show when we started playing Evanescence and the keyboard was transposed and we didn't know until the guitars came in and I was singing in the wrong key.
From the beginning of the show, it was
It was
awful.
a hot mess express.
So,
I cried so hard after that set.
Do
We
you
only
know-
played 4 songs.
do you know about this show, Corey?
I was told the keyboard.
That was
Yeah.
just the start.
That was, I
From-
don't even.
no.
I think I emotionally blocked out the rest. Of
Let me remind you. From the beginning of that show, we were on
Please.
such a high. The final
were.
cut was in its prime
We
after
were.
the first show we ever played. We
Yes.
played 3 songs opening up for Uprising that opened
Yes.
up for Static Breakdown in that
Yes.
show we were just talking about. And we got to Live After 5. And
That's
we were,
what it was.
Yeah,
Live After
they
5.
did it. I think they still do it like the last Friday of every month.
Yeah.
And it's in downtown. It's in the court Courthouse Square, and we were the first band to go on. We don't have experience with sound guys. We don't have experience with live shows in general. We played one show, and it was in a controlled environment because it was where we practiced every single week.
Yeah, it was at the Cajun
Center.
Country Event Center.
Who dat? Let's venue 182 now. Shout
Cajun
out.
Country Event Center forever.
Yeah, that's what it is. But okay, so we start, and we didn't know anything, so we just thought, okay, we're just gonna go up and
Mic check, do our jam, whatever.
well, not even a mic check. We're just gonna go up and start playing, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's when, because Brennan was messing around on the keyboard because it was uprising.
It was
stuff.
uprising stuff, and they had it transposed for their set.
Not even for
we
their
just-
set. I think they were just screwing around
I
by the
think-
keyboard, getting
I'm
ready
gonna
to.
say it was for their set so that I don't kill Brendan Trant the next time I see him.
They put the keyboard in like three
They transposed
keys.
it 3 keys up.
Yeah, it was horrible. So first
no.
song,
It was so
Evanescence,
bad.
Bring Me to Life. Julie starts playing, and we don't even know what to do when something goes wrong. So
No.
she just starts
This
playing,
is our second show.
and Brii doesn't know what to do, so she
Well,
just
she
sings.
starts
and-
playing. I just come in because the intro of Bring Me to Life, because that's what song it was Bring Me to Life by Evanescence. The intro to Bring Me to Life is just the piano.
Yeah,
So I start singing with Julie. It's easy peasy cake, whatever. The guitar comes in.
well, I think you maybe started singing to match the keyboard,
Yeah,
but
I
then
did.
we're all coming in E.
Yeah, and it's just, and so I'm like, the keyboard drops out. I'm still singing in the key of the keyboard, and the guitars are playing in a different key, and it was just, oh god, it was
Kind
so
of
bad.
like.
And I'm just like shaking and panicking because I don't know what to do.
Like in the
It was
fucking
so
horrible key.
bad. It was so bad.
So that was the first song.
I immediately started crying.
Jaren, we were all in shock.
Yeah.
Jaren is the only one that comes up on the mic and he's like, "Hey guys, how about a round of applause?" And he's starting to bring up the spirits and he's like shouting
Bless
out
him.
Brii and Julie.
Yeah.
He goes to play "Never Too Late" by 3 Days Grace, and that's in drop D. He was so busy trying to recover the show from
Forgot
the
that.
horribleness that just happened. My voice cracked 3 times also because I did the male
Yeah.
save me.
Yeah.
It wasn't happening.
It was Hot Mess Express.
And he tries to bring up the crowd. He forgets to tune down the drop D. Dum dum dan and gong, dum dum dan, dum dum dan and gong. And so we're just like, not again.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, God.
It was literally train wreck after train wreck after train wreck.
And then I got into an argument with the sound guy on stage
Yep.
because I couldn't hear my guitar. I thought they just cut it off. And I was getting upset. I'm like, I can't hear myself, and I'm yelling at the sound guy. Meanwhile, there's a whole cringing crowd of people.
Yeah, there's
just
a
looking
whole
at us.
ass crowd of people there watching this all happen.
He comes up to the stage and he gets in my face. He's like, "Just do this." He's pointing up in the air, telling me to turn like my monitor up. I'm like, "Excuse me, I didn't go to live performance school. I don't know, what the rules
fuck
are
is going
here."
on. I am the ripe old age of 16. It's my first time in a public place playing music.
Everyone just kind of put their hand over their face and turned away.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably
All of the pictures. So here's my favorite thing about that. I got some of the best pictures of all of us together from that show from before the show. Because after the show, every picture after that, I am like red-faced, teary-eyed from crying so much. And I remember everybody giving me a hug after because I was crying so hard. Everybody was like, "Please calm down. It was just one bad show." And I was like, I will
think-
never play in Home Hour again.
it was really rough at that time, but I think bombing on stage, if you're going to be any type of performer,
Oh,
is
yeah.
essential.
It surely humbled us. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
it lets you know worst case scenario, and it gives you motivation to
Absolutely.
kill
Avoid it.
Yeah.
Well, and
Anything
it
you
showed
do.
us what we didn't know about performing, which is, I mean, a necessary thing to learn, but it just sucked to learn in front of a whole lot of people.
That's not even my worst bomb. I've lived those days.
Nah, I mean, like, since then, I sang in a band in New Orleans for a while, but that was like, I don't know.
Really?
I played, yeah, so I used to actually sing
Fish
on Bourbon
belly.
Street. I used
Fish
to-
belly.
Fish
Fish
belly.
belly.
Fish
Fish
belly.
belly. My cousin Timothy got me to come and sing in his band, and we performed at 333 Bourbon Street at Prohibition Bar. We played there for a whole. I played with them for a whole summer, and made cash and drove back to Lafayette every night at like 4 a.m. and just kind of lived that life for a while. And that was it was really really fun. It was about 7 hours of like playing. which was kind of tough, but I think it toughened me up a lot, which was kind of cool and something that I didn't know I needed until I had it. And it definitely built up my stamina as a performer. I think it was also just a bit easier because it was my cousin's band, and like Timothy couldn't. I don't know. Timothy loves me, so the blessing was that Timothy loved me. So even if I showed up and didn't have certain things prepared, he'd just be like, "Dude, get your shit together," and then we'd move on. Be like, "God damn it! All right, I gotta get my shit together."
And that's the dynamic you need. I miss being in a band with you, Brii.
I miss being in a band with you too, Dre. We had a lot of fun. I miss being in a band, truthfully.
Well,
cover bands don't make it in Lafayette.
We're gonna make something happen through the Attic Productions.
Absolutely, we at least gotta like pump out some tracks,
including you, Corey.
Absolutely.
Now, to Corey, my friend. You've been very silent this whole podcast.
Yeah, I'm just listening. It's good, nice to listen.
Yeah.
Oh, I really.
There's some stuff he hasn't heard about our.
Yeah, it's been really enlightening. I like it. It's fun. It's good.
Man.
This isn't a part of my life he knows a whole lot about. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, get ready to learn all of the.
Just wait till the videos come on, and it'll really be a.
Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. But Corey, I want to know a little bit more about you because we're newer friends. I met you a couple times at festival. In fact, the first time I ever saw you, I met up with Brii because, of course, I was in Lafayette at festival, so I hit her up. I saw you for like the first time in years, and then I was looking for you, and the whole time I'm just like bobbing my head because I'm like, damn, there's some awesome ass brass music playing. And I'm just walking around, and I found Brii. I'm like, oh, Brii. And she's like, come over this way, my boyfriend's performing. I'm like, that's him?
Yeah.
Like, we went over, and it's just y'all, like, jamming, and you're on trumpet. And
yeah, back when you were in New Natives.
Oh, yeah.
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 Dude,
we were soloing at that moment, too, so it was, like, perfect timing. I was just like, oh, yeah, that's my boyfriend.
I knew you were a baller from the beginning. So tell me a little bit about, I know you obviously have degrees in music, and you're a qualified motherfucker.
Something like that, yeah.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from Luling.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about that at the beginning.
So I'm from there. So I was surrounded by like both sides of Louisiana music, right? Like the Cajun and the jazz side, you know.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of that influencing how I write and whatnot. But I went to UL for a long time.
A couple of years, aka 10. 8 years?
7.
7 years.
7. I started in computer science. Did that for like 2.5 years, and was like, nah, I don't want to sit in an office and code now, which is ironically what I do now.
Literally, as of today,
yeah.
official job title.
So, I switched to music media, and I got a double concentration in jazz performance as well. So I have the jazz trumpet performance and music media.
How many instruments do you play?
Proficiently, let's say 3.
Which ones are those?
Trumpet, bass, and drum set.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What about unofficially?
Unofficially, I like to fuck around with piano a lot. I could basically play any brass instrument besides like tuba really well, because tuba is just like a different embouchure. But I could play like low brass instruments, and I can get away with it on the French horn. So
how universal is brass instruments? Like, if you can play a trumpet, what else can you play pretty decently?
You can pretty much play any kind of high brass instrument like really well. There's actually like 6 different kinds of trumpets, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're all played a little bit differently, but they all have the same kind of fundamental aspects of it.
But they all take a different technique.
Yeah.
Because of how different they are.
Yeah, and depending on the instrument too, and the bore size and all the other fun stuff, like trombone, you have to have a different kind of embouchure. Tuba, you have to have a totally different kind of embouchure. But I used to actually play trombone a lot in my undergrad as like a second instrument in like brass in a basketball band and all that stuff. And it's a lot of the same conceptual stuff because it's all based off the harmonic series, right? You know about that?
Like harmonic scales.
Well, no, like the harmonic series. This is like a physics thing, actually. So,
ooh, teach me.
You have like a resonating column, right? And what it naturally resonates without any kind of like buttons or anything like that. If you just think of the trumpet, if you unwrapped it into one long tube, okay, it can play. If we're gonna go up, like you could start from an octave, then it's a fifth, then a fourth, then a major third, then a a minor third, then a major second, then not a major second, a slightly flat minor third, then a major second, then a minor second, then a minor second, then less than a minor second, and then it gets like super close to each other because it's just not technically resonating anymore. But the whole concept of like the trumpet and all that and is all based off of that concept and what's called the rule of 6%, which if you add 6% length to any kind of resonating column, like it lowers the pitch by a half step in the European tuning system, right? 12 pitches. So like the second valve, it adds 6%, the first valve adds 12%, and the third valve adds 18%. And then when you add combinations of that lets you go lower too, right? So if you put 1 and 2, it's technically the same as 3 because it's both 18%, right? And there's all kinds of fun stuff you can go. This is like a fucking rabbit hole. You can go
I'm
down.
gonna be honest with you. I can generally understand what you're saying, but
Yeah.
you're so deep into it. I fucking love it, dude. You are a qualified motherfucker.
But yeah, so long story short, they're all based on the same concept. So yeah, a lot of brass players can play a lot of different brass instruments. Well, maybe not, because like you usually hone your embouchure and your set, like the way you set your embouchure and all that, for that specific instrument. So like I've been honing everything just for trumpet, and whenever I go play a trombone, it feels like I'm falling into the mouthpiece because it's just like a massive instrument compared to the trumpet. Damn. Even though it's technically not that far away, it's not that the bore size is not a little bit bigger. The mouthpiece is maybe like the diameter of it. Well, the radius of it is like a little less than half the size more. So
Yeah, what's kind of been your journey getting into it? So you went to school for performance and you've been a qualified horn player since. When did you play like in high school, and that's kind of how you've built it up through time?
Yeah, I started in high school and I played a lot of instruments then. And when I got into college, I looked at marching band as like a way to pay for school because they paid really nicely.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
true.
And then
Gets your whole housing paid for.
I had a really crazy thing happen to me. I became good friends with this guy named Michael Trahan, and he was an example of what like a good musician is and what a dedicated musician is. And he was a really nice dude, and I got a phone call randomly while I was visiting my mom's house that he had like passed away, like collapsed on stage at Atmosphere in Lafayette.
On stage?
Yeah, and then he died in the ambulance on the way to Lafayette General. And it was the first funeral I ever went to, and we actually had, like 2 weeks before then, we had like a super long conversation at Atmosphere where he gave me a mouthpiece and was essentially like, you're just afraid of like following music. You're only doing this computer science shit because you want to make money. And I was like, you're right. And like, so, which I know, ironically, I'm doing the same thing. But the thing is, I think there was something different there because I was meant to do that, because we'll get into that later. So whenever he passed away, I decided, I was like, I probably should like try this out at least give it the old college try.
Give it the old college try.
And so I like changed my major after that and started like working hard at it. And so like the actual pursuing music didn't actually come until that moment, believe it or not. Because it first was just like kind of a hobby thing, like something to pay the bills, something to like kind of have fun with on the side. But that's when it actually was like the actual change there.
That's something I really relate to, just, and I've talked about it before. I feel like there's this thing about where we're from. You're from Luling, but it's still South Louisiana. The whole South, and it's so different everywhere else, I've learned. Your entire life, you're kind of raised in, I guess, maybe a closer-knit community. And so your natural thoughts are within that community. So the idea of branching off and doing something outside of where you're from is so large and huge. I feel like way fewer people pursue that down here than all the rest of the country. If you're from a northern state, hell yeah, y'all relationship goals.
We're just together all the time.
If you're from any northern state, I feel like it's a given. It's like once you're 18, kicking you out the nest, and you just
you just go and do. Yeah, around here it's almost frowned upon to leave, which is crazy.
It's not almost frowned upon; it's straight up frowned upon.
It is straight up frowned upon. As from somebody who
I
moved
left
to Colorado.
I left to go do my master's in Colorado, and I got excommunicated by 3 of my family members.
Yeah.
It was like within a
What?
month, dude.
Yeah.
It was within a month. I was a quote unquote weed smoking hippie who is like chasing nothing was like an exact word from one party. I
he
was
moved
also
to
called a liberal
Colorado.
socialist crybaby who has never worked a day in his life because I do music stuff. And it's like, yeah, it is like, that is 100% a thing. It's not like it's not actually a thing. No, they straight up, there will be people who look down on you because you have left the boot.
Exactly. I mean, it wasn't to that degree, but I had people like asking me, okay, well, how long are you going to go try that? You know?
Yeah, when are
Like,
you gonna come back?
Yeah.
It's always when are you gonna come back? Because you can't stay gone, right? Like that's just crazy to anybody else.
Right.
But at the same time, like I guess there's some merit in it because here we are.
Exactly. You know,
we always come back.
we're here, but you know, we all have, you know, our different ways we're pursuing it. And a huge thing I push with this podcast is just, you know, staying focused on, you know, your ambitions in that way.
Absolutely.
And it can be something as small as setting up an Instagram page and just, you know, posting videos of yourself if you play music, continuing to draw,
sure.
just putting your art out there, and then getting feedback, you know, to a level that lets you know, hey, I can do more and more with
Yeah.
this.
Well, and it's creating art for the sake of just creating art. You know, I
Yeah.
think that's it's so easy to lose sight of in any profession, especially music, where you start to think like, well, I have to make music to make money.
Right.
So making music to make art isn't the focus all of a sudden, and then making music becomes different, I think,
Yeah.
when that becomes the forefront.
I think anytime it becomes more of a financial venture or a business transaction, you're going to automatically just lose everything that is the substance of, you know, what you're trying to do.
Your purpose, yeah. Your purpose changes.
I think it's
We've had
video
lots of fun.
time.
Oh, God. So what is actually time for is embarrass Brii time. That's what time it is. Yep.
So we've talked a couple times about the Final Cut days.
Yep. This video is from the first show we did where like Andre is wearing a Jonas Brothers-esque outfit. I'm wearing a sweater.
Have you seen this video?
Absolutely.
I've seen like this much of this video,
Yeah, I
and
normally
I
cut
can't
it
wait to watch the whole thing.
We can kind of give a play-by-play as this. You hear Adam talking about my
mom
guy part.
videoed this, yeah. Oh, Adam Louvier. Bless his heart.
I sent you pictures. I'm not gonna post it online, but there's a moment right here. Wait, no, not yet. Right before the first chorus, you gain confidence.
Yeah.
You look very scared right here.
I was terrified, dude.
We were all shaking nervous
Oh, God.
before we got up on here.
Almost threw up.
How old were you? That's really good for 16. Why are you like knocking this?
I haven't started yelling yet.
Because it's us. Right there where you went, home. Like,
Move the mic stand out of the way.
Dude, people are losing their shit.
dude, everyone was going crazy. This is the high we were at when we did so shitty the second show.
Oh shit! Oh
It was
god,
electric in there.
that's too familiar. I know what that is. Oh, none of the pinch harmonics. I was looking forward to it.
We weren't at that level yet.
Oh, Alton! Oh God, I forgot about Alton. I miss him.
Look at old Jared.
Darren wearing that Pumpkin King shirt. He still wears it for Hey Thanks gigs.
Shout out.
He has the same wardrobe from high school.
You can hear my mad singing skills. If you could see Brii in this video right now.
Dude, she's killing it.
I'm wearing a sweater
Killing
vest
it.
on stage. What am I
Dude, if 16-year-old me was there, I'd mad swoon. Mad swoon, dude.
Fanning himself off in the back.
doing? The tea is that.
That was when I played tennis and I was in shape, so I might have just been a dude just like fucking took off his shirt. It's like,
Like, who's this asshole?
Look at this. Look at that mustache belt.
I still have it, dude.
She
It
still
doesn't
has
look
it.
like that anymore, but I
No,
still
it's-
have it. You can tell my mom's videoing because I'm the only person in the frame.
My Justin Bieber haircut.
God. You mean that's not what you saw?
Poor Julie though, her part in this song was
I know, it's literally just stand there and bob back and forth, play the intro, and then
she did the piano part and it's like, all right.
alright, I'm done. She sang harmonies sometimes. Yeah, I was a bit of a bully in that I was kind of a front runner of the band and refused to let that go.
Well, we saw Uprising and we saw what having 3 singers in a band does to somebody. So I
Yeah.
always pushed for one of y'all to like take the front
Take the lead, yeah.
and
And I was
like
happy to do it. I'm holding my diaphragm in place, literally holding it, because I was gonna hold that note for as long as possible.
that was our closer.
Hell yeah. Good closer.
We used to do what was it? We did Walk This Way into Harder to Breathe. So we did Aerosmith into Maroon 5. And then we did
I'm gonna try and find
Yeah.
that because I have a whole video of that.
luckily you don't post on Facebook much, so it
No, I
shouldn't be too
don't.
hard to find because all of the posts that I'm seeing right now are photos that you are tagged in of your family. So
I'll try to make this more available on Facebook, but that's what I'm scrolling through right now.
yeah, it's probably in videos if nothing else too.
I don't even know how to look at that family.
Oh,
Look at this.
Do you remember whenever we went? Oh man! So this also means that our friendiversary just passed a few days ago.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
October 14th. So
But
that's literally just like 4 days ago. Our
That's not-
friendiversary. We've been friends for 9 years on Facebook.
That's not our literal friend
No,
anniversary.
that's
like
our Facebook friendiversary.
Yeah.
Although it's not much different, I don't think, because we met about 9 years ago. It's been almost 10 years of our bullshit. So
We met. We had to have met in 2009.
I was
right?
in 8th grade. Yeah, I was in 8th grade. So
Yeah.
we're going on 10 years. Because I know for sure I met Jaron when I was in 8th grade, and you weren't long after. That's the
Yeah.
same video.
We're getting
But
close.
yeah, so while Andre's looking for that, I'll tell you a cute little story about how Andre came with me to audition for American Idol.
Oh please.
So American Idol auditions came to New Orleans, and my mom was like, "You want to go?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to go." So we got tickets. We did the whole thing. We stayed in New Orleans, and Andre came with, and it was super fun. We waited in line at like 5 a.m. and we were like the
5
cut off of
a.m.
people who got to be on TV. Like they cut the group off at us, so we did not get to be on TV. We just got to stand in line, but we did get to meet some
Speak
people.
for yourself, Brie. I put myself on
Oh,
TV.
he did.
You remember
Andre.
that?
Yeah, Andre was interviewed by
No.
this lady. No.
You were interviewed.
Oh, you just walked behind James.
Yeah.
Oh, what was his name?
Someone.
James Durbin.
Yeah.
You just walked behind him while he was being interviewed and like looked at the camera and then kept walking. Andre was gonna have his moment. That's from the downtown
The Bad
Live
Show?
After 5 show. Yeah,
That's
that
right
was
before our lives ended that day.
Yeah, that was right before
Oh,
we embarrassed the shit out of
no.
ourselves. That's one of my favorite pictures of us. We were being so dumb. But anyway, yeah, we waited in line from 5 a.m. Blah, blah, blah. We go inside. What you don't know about American Idol auditions is that it is in no way you go on and immediately meet the judges. There's about 5 rounds. Oh, that's from the telethon. That's so cute. It's about 5 rounds of weeding out the week. And so round 1, I was out. So I went in and sang,
Oh, look.
oh, that's the moment.
I'm gonna have to
He
post
did
this
the
picture.
walk.
This is
Yeah.
on Fox News.
Fox News. Andre just walked in the background of this girl. I still follow her on social media, by the way. Her name's Jazzy Owens.
She's in the middle of singing a song to show
Yeah.
her skills for the American Idol auditions. I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Andre just like moseyed on behind her and then walked back. That was a band
Oh,
practice. What are we
shit.
singing? Look, that's Emily.
Wanted.
Emily's in that video.
Wanted, dead or alive.
Emily Adams.
This is a practice in 2009. This is Brie. And I'm standing on a chair playing bass, getting ready to jump off.
Yeah.
Because I was cool.
I knew he was about to eat shit. Who's playing drums? Is that Brennan? Oh yeah. he's
That's
wearing
Brennan,
sunglasses.
yeah.
trying so hard to get Emily to rock with me.
Oh shit! Look at him.
He lands in a kneel.
It's one thing I'm so not happy about, that there were so many times you were looking at me like, because me and you, we probably had more of the.
We had a hella on stage chemistry. Like, we had so much fun.
There's so many times I was just on my own thing, and you're like, "Hey, let's jam."
Yeah, I am singing. Dance with me.
Oh, you see?
Look, there's Elena.
You see that blonde whore? See that blonde whore in the middle?
You're gonna get this taken down for defamation.
There's
Darren.
She's only colloquially a whore.
Yes.
I love you, Elena.
Well,
I'm so sorry.
We all do.
Here was the thing about me and Andre on stage together. Darren was literally dead on stage. Like, he would not make a face, he wouldn't do anything, he stood there and played exactly like as he is doing in this frame.
And he is so different now.
I am almost spiteful about it, but I'll leave that for a later date.
I saw Hey Thanks live twice.
He did, yeah.
How did you think?
He's come with me.
They're fun.
They're super
They're fun. I've no lie. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm like this.
Yeah.
Is that kind of not your typical genre?
Yeah,
Pop
I don't really
punk?
listen to pop
Absolutely
punk
not.
at all.
No, that's
But like,
more
it's
me.
fun live, so like, I'm not gonna knock it. You know, like it's fun.
And like, he came with me because I was so adamant about like, these are my friends. Like, these are my
Yeah, she was like, you need to support your friends because I support yours. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, fair,
I support my
totally
friends.
fair. Yeah.
And like, these boys like legit are more like, at this point they're really more like my family than they are my friends. Like,
Yeah.
because it's almost like we have this obligatory connection that we can never ever let go. And it's why we all still love each other even though we never talk, and why our relationship is so special. Because, I mean, being the Bayou kids that moved to Lafayette and then everybody started dropping like flies and moving back home, I'm the only one out of like our class that stayed, other than like Bryson. And Bryson's doing awesome too. He's about to finish. Oh, that was Voice of the Wetlands.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good show. God, it was so hot, and I wore like a cut-off sweater. I had made so many mistakes that day.
I want to just say this real quick. We're about to play "Sound of Madness" by Shinedown.
Oh God!
It was.
Why did I sing that song?
I don't know, but you went
Tammy
through
made me.
a dilemma with Miss Tammy and certain shows. Certain shows they didn't want us to curse, so the only curse word in the song. Yeah, I get it. You're an outcast. Always on the. You need a sharp shotgun blast, a kick in the ass. She like literally tried to say like butt one day.
This is a kick in the butt.
You tried it one time,
So bad.
and you were like, "This is stupid."
I'm
I remember
absolutely not doing that.
This was the first show you're like, "Fuck it, ass."
Yeah, I said it.
It's beautiful.
This was a fun time.
It was fun to play certain songs that were like this.
I still know all the words to the song.
What's that?
I still know all the words to the song.
Oh, how could you forget?
I know, ingrained in me. Look at the little like 7-year-old dancing in front of
Look,
me.
she's getting gangster
She
with it too.
is.
Oh yeah.
I love her.
Throwing down.
Those drop D songs are so much fun. I'm committed to finding what I'm trying to find.
Julie playing the tambourine like a good sport.
That's what I'm saying. A few of these songs, she's just there like.
I was very much the front man of the band. And like, I don't think I realized how much of an asshole I was about it until after the fact. And she even called me out for being an asshole about it. And I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I was legit just like, I'm gonna sing these songs. And then we got to the point where she was like, can we do more songs that I sing? And I was like, sure. And then we picked like 4 songs and she sang one of them.
We found it.
What did we find? What is this? Oh, an error occurred. We didn't find shit.
Wait, just refresh it.
Oh, no, video unavailable.
Who
Who posted it? That's what we need to know.
No, this wasn't me.
Oh no, that was probably
you. Y'all, I'm in tears. We were babies.
I think
Signed
that
Brii
might have been
Simmons.
your old YouTube.
I still have the Final Cut YouTube. It's still functional. It's still my personal email address that it's on. So
I want to say it's on Facebook too. I'll do
I
a
don't
few
know.
more scrolls.
I saw
won't
the
take
other
away
one
from-
was posted by my my former stepdad.
Hot take. 3 of us have to start a band right now. What are we doing?
My God. First of all, we're going to call ourselves Panoramic View, and you'll fight me about it. And then, I don't know, I'll pick up one of those guitars that's sitting over there, and I will play one of Dead or Alive until you guys come up with something better to do.
I was saying like a long-term plan. Like,
Oh,
we're here to
long-term plan?
start a band.
I
Not.
thought you meant like right now, drop what you're doing or something.
No, I was saying like just.
Oh,
If we were to start a band right now,
I would only want to do show tune covers.
that is true.
Yep.
You're out.
Okay. Toodaloo, bitches. I'll take my vision elsewhere.
Ta-ta, motherfuckers.
I'll take my vision to the trash can.
I've just always wanted to do like an electro pop group.
Electro pop. I don't know.
If we
Like
could
Chromeo,
create,
like
that,
something like that.
I like
You know Chromeo?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that, like fucking why can't I only think of Chromeo? I know there's like like Cafuné and like all these other like electro pop groups and all that. I love it. It'd be so much fun.
Man, I don't know what I could pull off. I know I have blues skills. I could play some blues guitar, and I could find my way around on a keyboard. But as far
I can
as
find my way around on a keyboard well enough. I mean, just tell me what.
If you
notes
could
to
find your
play.
way around a keyboard, then we can definitely do an electro pop group.
shit,
That's the thing. Like you hook.
That's really it. It's just
You can, yeah. You don't even need a drummer.
on a computer.
You just set, yeah. You have
Drum
a computer.
machine.
You have like 5 synths. You sequence half of it and figure out what you want to play live.
Oh yeah, just search the Final Cut on YouTube. That'd probably be so much faster. Oh no, because it's just gonna come up with Pink Floyd. Look up the Final Cut official.
did we have a Facebook? I mean, a YouTube page?
Yeah, it's on my personal
do you
email
spell
address.
official?
OFFICIAL. It's spelled right there for you, Andre.
I can't read.
Andre Edward.
I can't read.
Well, I can't read.
Hey everybody! After an unexpected break, we are back. That's just how we roll up here in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned something about you, Corey. Tell me about this tour.
So I played with Dr. John for a little bit. If you're not familiar with Dr. John, he recently passed away. God bless him. He was a
God
good
bless
dude.
him.
They needed a horn section for a show at the Hyman Center, and Terrence Blanchard wasn't going to be in like the first 3 shows of the Louisiana Crossroads Tour, so I got called up for the first 2. And it was like a little baby tour. It's not really like a tour, but I got to rub elbows with all these super cool dudes, and I got to take a few solos and all that, and I played the lead book, and it was big shoes to fill because Terrence Blanchard is a fucking monster, but he's so goddamn good.
How'd you get asked to do that?
I got lucky. My big band teacher, professor.
Professor.
He Dr. Hockeppel. He pulled me into his office. He was like, "Do you want to play a gig?" I was like, "Well, yeah." Like I was just like, "This money?"
Duh.
Yeah, of course. He's like, "All right, what about $150? We have a sectional, sound check, and the gig for Dr. John with his new I think it's ski bebop or ski do dat or something." It was just the title of his Louis Armstrong tribute, and he like had some super cool like funk versions of a lot of Louis Armstrong classics. My favorite was this Mac the Knife arrangement. Well, it wasn't his.
I love Mac the Knife.
Yeah, he made you need to hear it. It's so good. He had an arrangement by this lady named Sarah Morrow, who she like arranged half the horn charts and like a lot of the tunes for him to sing, and it's like all these like upside down versions of Louis Armstrong tunes.
Man.
The opener was what was the opener? I can't remember it. But I just remember like the whole show was nuts, especially the first one, because we're supposed to go on to stage at like 7:30, and we get on stage, and of course like the Waylon Jones, who's like played for like the fucking Coltrane family and all this crazy stuff. Everybody on stage, most of the band was from like the New Orleans revivalists, so like they do a lot of stuff where they back up New Orleans artists and stuff, and they're like basically the New Orleans studio musicians. They
Not to be mistaken with the revivalists.
yeah, not the revivalists, but they're the New Orleans Revival, I think is what they're actually called. But a lot of those guys are insane. The organ player didn't look at a piece of music. All of his music, quote unquote, was like just chords. And he was just like, oh, what do you tell me? You give him numbers of like the chords, like, oh, it's a 2/5 to this, it's this. He's like, in his head, just like keep beep 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 beep. All of a sudden in his head.
Don't those kind of humans make you feel like subpar?
Oh, it made me furious because I'm like, I spent hours learning how to do some of this shit, and he's just like, oh yeah, it's this. Okay, cool. It's like, oh, this dude's been behind an organ since he came out the womb. So, but we get out there and he's like, all right, just vamp the beginning. We vamped the beginning for 25 minutes. Literally 25 minutes before we play the first tune.
And totally like improv, like you just have to follow when they're coming out of it.
Yeah, because Dr. John wasn't coming out of the bus. Apparently, because he was of old age, he might have been a little under the influence of something. Who knows? He comes out, like, we were just waiting on it, and then Sarah leaves the stage because Sarah Morrow was also playing trombone for this, and so she, like, puts her trombone down, and she leaves stage. We're like, what the shit's going on? And she comes back, and she, like, puts her sunglasses on, and she's like, okay, let's go. And I was like, look, and they're like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Dr. John. Everybody loses their shit. And I'm like sitting there going, oh, fucking finally. It's like I already blew like half my chops on just the fucking opening of the show. And so after that, like, it was like, all right, we're actually in now. Because at first it was supposed to just be like maybe 32 bars, like the whole form, you know, where they just kind of introduce everybody in the band. And but I blew for like 2 choruses up front, and like I traded with the trumpet player, and like they like broke it down and all this other stuff, and we're all just kind of looking around like, where the fuck is Dr. John? Like, where is he supposed to be? And it was wild. But after he got back on stage, it was just like smooth sailing from there. But it was cool because he had like 2 canes in the theater. He walked up, and like both the canes were just covered in like peacock feathers and chains and all kinds of like other exotic bird feathers.
Extra AF.
Oh yeah, and his suit was like bright fucking purple and like all Mardi Gras colors and shit.
That's how you roll through.
Oh yeah, he definitely was like, we had to wait for him for sure. But yeah, it was super cool playing those shows.
Only thing I can think of relating to that, when I worked at, I went to school in Nashville for audio engineering at Dark Horse Institute. And it started from a recording studio out in Nashville, and he started the school because he saw a lot of interns he was hiring on didn't know what they were doing. And so after you graduated the school, you were offered a spot as an intern if you were proved that you knew what you were doing. And I worked as an intern forever. And we would have like high like priority sessions, but you never got told who it was, so there was no chance of you like posting it on social media or something like that. And fucking Tommy Lee from Motley Crue showed up.
Oh shit.
Like, we were just making coffee in the kitchen. We knew someone big was coming, but of course we don't know who. And my buddy's looking at the window. He's like, dude, fucking Tommy Lee. And I'm like, what? And he's like, Tommy Lee is outside. And I'm like, not in fucking Nashville. And sure enough, fucking Tommy Lee rolls in. Hey, what? I'm just trying to find out where I'm supposed to go. We're like shaking, like pointing that way. Would you like coffee? We made coffee. Would you like water? And he's like, yeah. And then eventually Mick Mars showed up with like some 30-something-year-old under his arm, and we had apartments downstairs, and he's like sniffling his nose, and he's like, I'm trying to find a room, like I can. And we were like, and I showed him to one of the apartments, and I don't know what happened, but he looked like he was trying to go do cocaine. So that's my Mick Mars cocaine story.
Amazing.
That I tell myself and other people.
Yeah.
Dude, so I was stagehanding for Kenny Loggins.
He has stagehanded for some crazy people, by the way.
We gotta
That's
become more friends.
Oh yeah, like Corey could have done an entire episode by himself. Next time we have to do like a one-on-one with me and a one-on-one with him, because he can literally talk your ear off about this stuff.
I agree.
Forever, because he's done so much. Like, it's not even like it's not like a brag or like anything like that. It's just he's literally experienced so much in like the past 10 years.
But yeah, what was funny is I thought like Kenny Loggins was just like the cool dad from the 80s. Like,
Yeah.
he like shows up. He's in a Hawaiian shirt, cargo shorts, the cargo khaki shorts specifically, and flip-flops. And he's just like shaking all his hands, like the stagehands' hands and stuff like that. And I was like a lead because I also did like contracted stuff with this company as like a sound engineer and all this other shit. But
You stayed behind the board, or you like were
it
setting up
depended on the
gear?
gig. It really depended on the gig because I did like Spotlight for Pitbull. I did like lasers for Lady Gaga. I did pyro for Queen. I did all kinds of random shit.
Bro.
Yeah, dude. I told you.
So the with Kenny Loggins, I was just a stagehand, and I was like helping lead the stage transitions because it was with the Colorado Symphony Orchestra, the CSO. I knew some people in the CSO, so they requested me to help like. This is this transitions. This is what we're doing. And it was like Kenny Loggins with the CSO. But when Kenny Loggins showed up, the only thing that they sound checked with was like the chorus of Footloose, and it was so strange because like they would be like, "All right, 1, 2, 3, Footloose," and then it start going on, and they would stop like mid chorus, and then everybody just cut, and then be like, "Oh, we need this up in this monitor, this. Okay, all right, you ready? 1, 2, 3, Footloose," and it was just that the whole like for like 30 minutes, like on and off Footloose.
You're already tired of Footloose.
Yeah, and I was like, and then you know what's the shitty part? Final Countdown was not on the set list.
What?
All this.
Out of all the songs, I was pissed because I was like super excited for this show because I was like, I get to hear like Kenny Loggins playing with the CSO not do fucking Final Countdown, which is like the perfect thing to do with a full orchestra. Like it made me so mad.
In that moment you were just describing with Footloose, at first when it happened, were you just caught off guard automatically that you're hearing Footloose from the people
from Kenny.
wrote Footloose?
Yeah. It was weird because like at first it was just like we're kind of just standing like, wait, this is happening. There's sound checking with this. And then it turned into us doing the fucking line dance and then stopping right when it stopped. Because it's like, yeah. And it was like, because it was like 30 minutes of that. So we had to sit there and just wait until we can start moving shit off for the transition and all that. So every time they stop, it's just like we do the dance and then we stop and just kind of look at each other like, all right, 1, 2, 3, and we go back into it.
What's the best show you were ever a part of in regards to the ones you've worked on with major people?
Definitely running monitors for why can't I think of the goddamn name? The Roots. Like,
oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
The Roots?
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah. I got to meet like all of Bob Marley's family essentially.
Wow.
Yeah, it was super tight. After the show, I'm rolling up, like, I ran monitors for them, and then, like, during the show, this is actually in Lafayette. This is before I even moved to Colorado.
In Lafayette?
Yeah, at the
Where
ACA.
at? Oh.
Yeah, and so they had a show at the ACA, and I got called to run monitors for them. I ran monitors, helped them out, whatever, got them set up. The keyboard player was a dick. Not Bob Marley's son, because there's 2 keyboard players, but the actual keyboard player. He was a dick. You were not cool. I know you're related, but you weren't cool if you ever hear this. So Unc was still in the band, like his brother. He was the bass player. I'm rolling down this keyboard player's massive ass fucking antiquated rack because he had like this old school keyboard rack where he has all these synthesizers plugged in with.
Oh, I'm
sure.
sure.
Yeah, and it wasn't like he's still using the same equipment that he was using like back in the day. So I'm rolling this rack up and I push it up and I see like there's like some cops just chilling and he's holding like a wooden pipe just sitting in the back of this trailer that's attached to their bus. And I was like, yo, Unc, like, it's not cool to do this down here. Because it was like their second show in Louisiana. I was like, you can't just do it in the street. I don't want you to get in trouble. He just looked at me. He was like, all right. And so I pulled up I closed the door. And after I closed the door, he like offers it to me. And I was like, oh, I'm like working right now. But he just sat there. I just watched him smoke. And he was asking about who I was and whatnot. And he was just, well, man, thank you, man, for looking out for a brother. And I was like, hey, no problem, dude. But he couldn't hear where the shit. So every time I talked to him, I was like, no, like, yeah, I study music at UL. Like, so,
does that mean you've met Questlove?
No, did not meet Questlove.
I would let Questlove do unspeakable things to me. And that's my take on Questlove. I would love to teach a lesson to my kids about roots and that whole thing because I teach at a specific demographic and I think that would be really beneficial.
The whole story behind Questlove is so cool.
I love
the fact that he was just like, I'm going to stick a bunch of my parents as record players and get something to control the volume between the two and make beats with it.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I knew more about Questlove, but I just appreciate the Roots for the music I've heard, and I haven't diven as deep into them as I have with other people. Well, I think it's safe to say that we could go on for several more hours, but I think we have everything we need for the time being, and I know you guys need to get back to Lafayette.
Yeah.
But of course, as Jamming in the Attic tradition, the end of every episode, I ask my guests to perform something.
Oh, what do you want?
And I want some quality time to get that in right now. So I'm going to leave it up to y'all, but I'm willing to set up anything I have available to y'all. I'm looking forward to your pipes and your musicianal talent. You think we could put something together? I just want to see you guys perform. Can we do that?
Sure. I'll play something if you hand me a guitar. I haven't cut my fingernails in a while, but it shouldn't be too horrible.
Well, let's figure something out. I wanna spend just a little bit of time doing that, and we'll get y'all out of here. Real quick to let everybody know, once again, thank you guys for all the support I've had so far. Everyone who's listened to my podcast and supported me online, you know, it means the world to me. This is a slow build up, but I have a lot of avenues. I'm taking the Attic Productions, and I'm looking forward to bringing everybody with me. I'm trying to look to do something special for my current followers. You know, because I appreciate it so much, but I'll get back to y'all on that. Follow me at The Attic Productions on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at The Attic Productions. YouTube and Apple Podcasts is where we have, you know, all the podcasts we're releasing. We have a new one coming out, Just Chillin'. I'd love to have you guys on that. We're doing that one out of Lafayette, so we'll make that happen. It's just a story telling podcast. Me and Matt Talbot are hosting it, and it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to bringing that to y'all. But thank you, everyone. Here's a special song from Brii Simmons and Corey motherfucking Murray.
Head underwater, and you tell me to breathe easy for a while. Breathing gets harder, even I know that. You made room for me, it's too soon to see if I'm happy in your hands. I'm unusually hard to hold on to. Blank stares at blank pages, no easy way to say this. You mean well, but you make this hard on me. I'm not gonna write you a love song, cause you asked for it, cause you need one. You see, I'm not gonna write you a love song, cause you tell me it's make or break in this. If you're on your way, I'm not gonna write you to stay. If all you have is leaving, I'ma need a better reason to write you a love song today. I learned the hard way that they all say things you wanna hear. My heavy heart sinks deep down under you, and your twisted words, your help just hurts. You are not what I thought you were. Hello to high and dry. Convinced me to please you, made me think that I need this too. I'm dying to let you hear me as I am. I'm not gonna write you a love song, cause you asked for it, cause you need one. You see, I'm not gonna write you a love song, cause you tell me it's make or break in this. If you're on your way, I'm not gonna write you to stay. If your heart is nowhere in it, I don't want it for a minute, babe. I'll walk the 7 seas if I believe that there's a reason to write you a love song today.